Hello, my name is JuneB and today we're going to have a cuppa and a chin wag about toxic relationships. What is a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is one in which two people don't communicate or relate to one another in healthy ways, and where conflict easily arises. Relationships that involve physical or verbal abuse are definitely classified as toxic. There are also other, more subtle signs of toxic relationships, including and not limited to: you give more than you're getting, which makes you feel devalued and depleted. You feel constantly disrespected, or that your needs aren't being met. Toxic relationships can be toxic on both sides, with both people not having the skills to support each other, triggering off the worst qualities in each other. Abuse, on the other hand, is a deliberate form of harm and control. There isn't always a clear difference between the two. It's worth remembering, though, that toxicity stems from a lack of control, and abuse stems from one person trying to take control. Can a toxic relationship be changed, fixed, or even repaired? Can a toxic relationship be changed, fixed, or even repaired? I'm not sure. It depends on a few things which we will go over now. 10 necessary steps to try to change a toxic relationship. Number 1, understand whether the relationship actually can be changed. Yes, toxic relationships can change. That comes with a very big if. A toxic relationship can change if and only if both parties are equally committed to overcoming it with lots of open communication, honesty, self-reflection, and possibly professional help individually and together. It will require each of you to examine your actions and do inner work. If you or your partner is not willing to truly put in the effort, the relationship will not change and should possibly be ended. I know I'm being blunt, and some of you won't want to hear this, although in my experience it has been true. Additionally, if you don't see any improvement after going through these steps, the toxicity could likely be too much to overcome, and it may be better to move on. Note: any relationship involving physical violence or any abusive behavior requires immediate intervention and is likely too toxic to salvage. 2, be willing to walk away. Before you attempt to confront a toxic partner, make sure your self-esteem and self-confidence are good enough for you to know that you will be all right if they end the relationship with you, or if you end up having to end it with them. If you're not there yet, seek support from a coach, a family member, or even a therapist. Maybe a friend you trust. If you want to improve your relationship with a toxic partner, you have to be willing to leave that relationship if nothing changes. If you're unwilling to do so, your partner will ultimately know that, regardless of what they do, you really won't leave. 3, look for the ABCDs. Someone can recognize a toxic relationship if there is a constant presence of A, B, C, or D. A, accusations. B, blame. C, criticisms. And D, demands. If these behaviors are rampant in your relationship, talk to your partner about them and agree to work together to end this cycle. When you find yourself falling into any of these behaviors, notice how you are escalating the argument by resorting to these toxic habits. It's helpful to remember that it's not you versus your partner, it's both of you versus the communication problem. Working together to eliminate or reduce the ABCDs can help you reconnect with your partner naturally. 4, use your voice. Often in toxic relationships, you'll find yourself walking on eggshells to avoid upsetting your partner, which over time can build up resentment. If you feel anxiety about communicating something to your partner because you're afraid of their response, take note. In a relationship, it is essential for you to feel relaxed and that you are able to be yourself and bring up concerns as they come up. Your partner might not be aware that their behaviors are causing you to tread lightly. When you are upset about something, resist the urge to sweep it under the rug. Instead, take the time to thoughtfully exercise your voice. It is a muscle, so keep using it. And share how you're feeling and how it may be creating distance in the relationship. Ask them to recognize how their behavior is affecting you so you can rebuild the trust in the connection. Also, recognize how your behavior may be allowing this toxic environment to flourish. We all have to take responsibility for our actions. It is easy to try and play a victim. Take a look at yourself and how you are playing that role, which keeps the relationship toxic. No blame, only honesty. 5, start taking up space. In toxic relationships, one person is often not honoring themselves or their own needs. You have opinions, likes, and dislikes. If you find yourself constantly doing something other than what you feel is right, you don't want to hurt their feelings, you don't want to get them upset, you have to feel happy too. Over time, the relationship can shift into one-sidedness and your needs become less visible and inevitably invisible. Then it becomes a one-sided relationship. None of us want that, right? If you've observed this dynamic in your relationship, it's necessary to speak up so you don't continue perpetuating this behavior. Help your partner to recognize their toxic patterns and cycles, which includes triggers, feelings, and behaviors. Express how you're feeling with your partner and let them know that you want to take up space in the relationship so you can feel included too. Seek out help. Someone can recognize a toxic relationship if one or both partners feel worse about themselves when they're in the relationship. It can be self-worth, confidence, or body image. Being around them doesn't feel stable. In fact, you feel like you live in a constant state of unease, of trying to be better or trying to feel good enough. Healthy love, real, nurturing romance doesn't involve any acts of earning. You are good enough simply by being who you are. If it's reaching a stage in your relationship, things have eroded enough that you may need to bring a mental health professional into your interactions to give you perspective. In a therapeutic setting, we help each person heal from unresolved injuries, such as personal or intergenerational trauma. It's important couples practice new, healthier cycles to communicate and connect. 7, learn to trust yourself and stick to your guns. Toxic relationships often involve gaslighting, a cognitive strategy that credits the subtle, unbalanced power dynamic that seeks to control the moment in a relationship. If you continually question your sensitivity level and judgment, it can rapidly devolve into you distrusting your own feelings and thoughts. Cultivating mindfulness practices can be key to learning how to trust yourself and your own experience. Your truth is not up for debate. A few ways to do that. Take down notes or keep a journal to notice the inconsistencies between what you're being told and what is actually happening. When you are fully present and not second guessing your reactions, a gaslighter will have a harder time distorting reality. Let them know that their perception is not your experience, and if they continue to speak to you disparagingly, you will not engage until they are willing to listen to you. Number 8, together explore healthy ways to express criticism. Constructive criticism can be a healthy expression of all contexts of a relationship. If someone habitually criticizes you in a judgmental way, that is no longer helpful. It is crossing the line. There is criticism about everything. Every time you do something, they always have a comment about what you did wrong, how you could have done it better, and on and on and on and on. Ultimately, you feel unappreciated. To counteract this, it may be as simple as both of you learning how to express criticisms in a loving and non-judgmental way. Take the emotion out of it and stick to the facts. Construct a dialogue where you can both listen to each other's point of view, so it is not just one person's monologue. Number 9, be okay with having uncomfortable conversations. Toxic relationships tend to be filled with little white lies on both sides. If your partner tends to have negative reactions when things don't go their way or when you disagree, you may have gotten used to simply telling them what they want to hear because you don't want to waste time explaining the truth. Healthy relationships are two-way streets, and honesty is paramount for you to meaningfully connect with your partner and for you to be able to speak your mind. When you feel like you are about to tell a white lie, take a moment to consider what would happen if I told the truth instead. If you feel yourself hesitating to bring up something or your instinct is to avoid the discomfort, take this as an opportunity to lean in. This is the perfect time to practice effective, clear communication, so these small lies don't become bigger lies and spread out of control. Number 10, don't move on from conflicts without having a plan for change. There is a pattern of escalation, emotions intensifying, and rupture, fighting and conflict without proper resolution. Partners may move on without a plan in place for change and how to approach conflict differently. Does that sound familiar to you? If there is a history of conflict avoidance and lack of personal accountability, try establishing a safe space where each partner feels like they can share their feelings, needs, and desires without resorting to A, B, C, D. If you or your partner grew up in a home where those issues went unaddressed, it's possible you may not have learned how to honestly and directly talk about the issue. With patience and positivity, these conversations can be initiated and become a natural way of approaching conflict without any of the toxic energy. So, in conclusion, how to heal or change a toxic relationship. 1, understand whether the relationship can actually be fixed. 2, be willing to walk away. 3, be willing to have open communication. It's not you versus your partner, it's both of you versus the communication problem. Always remember that. 4, use your voice, express yourself. 5, start taking up space, have opinions and views. 6, seek out help. 7, learn to trust yourself and stick to your guns. 8, together explore healthier ways to express criticism. 9, be okay with having uncomfortable conversations. And 10, don't move on from conflicts without having a plan for change. One thing you must remember, sometimes you have to leave a toxic relationship and you have to say goodbye. Not all relationships are lifelong. In fact, others may never go beyond an acquaintance, and it's okay. it's okay. Make sure your self-esteem and self-confidence are good enough for you to know that you will be all right if you or they end the relationship. And one note again, any relationship involving physical violence or abusive behaviors requires immediate intervention and is likely too toxic to be salvaged. It's time to leave. In a healthy relationship, partners have honest and non-hostile communication. While they may not be eye to eye on everything, they view disagreements as information about their partner, not a fight to be won. If you have any suggestions for topics for me to cover, put them in the comments below. If you resonated with this kind of content, then like, subscribe, share, and ding-a-ling-a-ling, turn on the notifications. Until next time, toodaloo.